and welcome to ECCB Connects, a program produced by the Eastern Caribbean Central Bank, designed to share with you who we are, what we do, and how we serve you. On this episode, we talk about how ordinary people like you and me can invest our money and earn a return right here in the Eastern Caribbean on the Regional Government Securities Market, the RGSM. With a new retail bond coming this October and starting as low as $500, investing is becoming even more accessible. Stay with us for more after the break. Thanks for staying connected with us. To help us to understand more about the Regional Government Securities Market, or the RGSM, what it is, how it works, and the opportunities that exist, we have with us Fiscal and Debt Specialist in the Research, Statistics, and Data Analytics Department, Juletta Edinborough. Juletta, welcome to ECCB Connects.
Thank you, Shanna. It's my pleasure to be on Connects.
Great. For someone hearing about it for the very first time, what exactly is the Regional Government Securities Market, or RGSM, in simple terms?
So the RGSM is essentially a marketplace where the 8 member governments of the Eastern Caribbean Currency Union can issue their securities, and by securities I mean treasury bills and bonds, to raise funds. And so investors like businesses, institutions, the individuals, the normal man on the street, can invest in these government securities and earn interest on them. When the securities mature, then the governments would repay the initial amount that was invested. So that, in short, is what the RGSM really is about.
I know that it was established back in 2002.
Correct.
Mm-hmm. And I see that households make up about 1.5% of the funds raised on the market. Why do you think that so few households are investing?
We had done a survey last year to get from households why they are not investing on the market. And one of the information that we sought from that survey and we got the feedback on was in relation to the minimum investment amount. So currently on the RGSM, one has to start with a minimum of 5,000 EC dollars and then increments of $1,000. And so it excludes persons who may not have $5,000 lying aside that they're able to invest in the market. Another area that we got feedback on was awareness. Although the market has been around for almost 23 years, a number of persons across the region still do not have enough information about the RGSM. And so we're expecting that from this discussion that we'll be able to bring more awareness to persons across the region on investments on the RGSM. And from that, we are planning to introduce a new product, which we are hoping that we would see a larger take-up of smaller investors on the market. And so that 1.5% that you mentioned, we expect to see that change shortly with respect to investment on the market.
The minimum amount, you said it was 5,000. What's expected? What's the new minimum amount to encourage more investors in the market?
The member governments across the region decided that we have to bring a product that satisfies the needs of the small investors. And so the minimum investment amount has been reduced from $5,000 to $500 for investors in this retail bond. And so for this instrument, as I said, the minimum would be reduced from $5,000 to $500 with increments of $100. So you can invest as low as $5, you can invest $1,000, and it also has a maximum investment amount of $50,000 to allow as many investors as possible to be able to participate in this retail bond. But with investments, the more you put in, the more income you earn. And so even though the minimum investment amount is $500 as the start, we would encourage investors to invest more than the $500 because that's how you build your income.
Juletta, why should an ordinary person consider investing in government securities instead of just leaving their money in a savings account?
When you have your savings at the bank, there is a minimum saving rate of 2%. It means that you're earning 2% interest on the savings that you have in the bank. This retail instrument, this retail bond, has an interest rate of 4.25%. So compare 4.25% with 2% savings rate, and you recognize that this interest on the retail bond doubles what you'll be getting in your savings account. And so investing in the retail bond allow investors to earn more income. It's for a 2-year period, and so an investor should ensure that they have sufficient savings built up that you would not need those funds in 2 years' time. And so the idea of this retail bond is to allow for access for all individuals and to allow them to earn a higher income.
Now, can you give us a real world example of how much someone might earn if they invest, let's say, about 5,000 AC dollars?
Okay, so I would have to take my calculator to calculate that, Shana.
Go right ahead.
And so if you're investing $5,000, as you said, and as I indicated earlier, the interest rate is 4.25%. So if one invests 5,000 EC dollars, each year you would earn $212.50, which means that at the end of the 2 years, you would have earned $425. If an investor keeps that $5,000 in the savings account, where they're earning 2%, as I indicated, over the 2-year period, that investor would earn about 200 EC dollars. So compare 200 EC dollars with 425 EC dollars over a period of 2 years. So you see, that is easy to calculate that if you invest in the retail instrument versus keeping all of your savings, all of your monies in the savings account, you would be earning a lot more, double what you would be earning if you kept all of your earnings in your savings account.
A lot of people worry about the safety of investments. How secure is investing in government securities compared to other types of investments?
Government securities are risk-free. What that means is that government securities carry very low risk, zero risk in fact. And so investment in government securities are very safe. These are one of the safest assets an individual, an entity can invest in, because the investments are backed by the full faith and credit of the government, meaning that the government will ensure that your interest that is promised, the 4.25 in the case of this retail bond, is paid when it's due, and at the end of the 2 years of the retail bond, the government would ensure that your initial investment amount, so if you invested 5,000 or 1,000, the government would ensure that that amount is repaid. So this investment in government securities are very safe instruments to invest in. And this retail bond is like a first step investment for a number of persons who haven't been investing. As we note from the data that we see under the RGSM, over the years, so over the 22 plus years that the market has been in operation, only 600 individual investors have invested in the market. When we are looking at a region with about 630,000 persons, what that means mathematically is that 1 in 1,000 persons have been investing in the market. And so if you want your earnings to grow, then one has to start thinking about investments rather than simply saving all of your income.
So, Juletta, the opportunity to invest is really for everyone? I mean, individuals, businesses, anyone can invest there?
Anyone can invest. But the beauty about this retail bond is that because we are trying to encourage investments from individuals, this retail instrument that is coming to the market is only for household investors, investors like you and I, Shanna. The businesses cannot invest in this particular retail instrument. And the interest rate that I said, the 4.25, it is a fixed interest rate. And so it means for the duration of that investment, the rate remains at 4.25%. And so the investor knows that that is the earning that they would obtain on this investment for the 2-year period. And I would add here, Shanna, that 2 member countries would be issuing this retail bond. These countries are the government of Grenada and the government of St. Kitts and Nevis. In the case of the government of Grenada, the bond would be exclusive for individuals. In the case of the government of St. Kitts and Nevis, that bond would be available to individuals and non-profit institutions. So like the churches, NGOs, those entities, because they serve households, then they would be allowed to invest in the instrument for St. Kitts and Nevis. But the objective of the retail bond is really to encourage investments by individuals.
We are the students of 𝐶𝐂𝐂𝐁 Primary School, and you are watching ECCB Connects.
We have come to the end of another episode of ECCB Connects. We explored the Regional Government Securities Market, the RGSM. The key takeaway here is that investing on the RGSM is not just for banks or big institutions. It's something that ordinary people can get into as well. With the new retail bond starting as low as $500 and coming this October, investing is becoming even more accessible. If you have been looking for a way to grow your money safely, this may be something worth exploring. Thank you so much for viewing. We will be back next week with another program as we continue to share with you who we are, what we do, and how we serve you.